Okay, so over here at the top left-hand corner, Valisar Deluge, we have Saladin. Saladin is our blue Protoss player. His opponent down at the bottom right-hand corner, throwing out the GG, is none other than amazing Korean Terran player TSL.aLive.
Apparently, we're starting this game off backwards today. Both players giving the GG before the game starts. That's something that Koreans will do sometimes. They'll just be like GG, HF, or GG, GL, something like that. They kind of mix it up from time to time.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need to just say GL, HF like we usually do.
Although every time I see GG, GL, you know, I just assume they're going, good luck! So, like crazy announcer voice, but...
Yeah, a little extra emphasis on the good luck. Because you're gonna need it. Well, we'll see what happens here. It looks like TSL.aLive is gonna go ahead and throw the supply depot up, and you know, this is a map that I haven't actually had too much experience casting on yet. Definitely haven't played on it quite yet, so I'll go ahead and let you explain it.
Sure. Okay. We have been explaining. I'll do the abbreviated version because we've explained the maps a couple of times over the past few casts, but basically. Made in natural, pretty easy to take. The key features are this is inside of your natural. It's separated by these bushes that you can't see around the other side of. You can actually plant siege tanks up there and protect your third if you decide to go the destructible rock route, or you can use it to just hide units and go ahead and protect any units that run into the natural. The other key feature is just one Xel'Naga tower in the middle. And you have golds that are pretty hard to take and actually hold on to, very, very exposed. So it plays out like a little more conventional map, with the exception of this spot right here at the natural and just the single Xel'Naga tower.
I think this definitely has two things that go... Well, one thing that's really helpful towards securing the third, obviously, is you have that high ground, so you can kind of protect the third, especially if you're Terran. But it also kind of hurts a little bit because it seems like the run distance between the two thirds, at least in the open field, it's not too big. So it does seem like, you know, from third to third, it would be pretty easy for both players to kind of get at each other. And, you know, it looks like it's a 1-versus-1 player map, so certainly it has the potential to be not only a short game, but also a long one. And
here's one thing I've actually noticed out of TSL.aLive.
Oh, no, he missed his opportunity to kill that probe.
Yep, and the probe is going to sneak out of there, but here's one thing I've noticed about TSL.aLive. Wait. Okay, I was about to say, I thought I saw the shadow of that. TSL.aLive has been utilizing these new maps better than anyone I've seen yet. A lot of people are just falling back on very nice conventional builds, good old standbys, things like that. Yep, bye-bye SCV. But a lot of people have just been falling back on conventional builds because they don't know the new maps and don't have prepared strategies yet. TSL.aLive has really been making the most of the interesting terrain changes and things like that. As you can see, he's burying a second barracks now behind those bushes where it's not going to be shown. And if a probe gets back up here and sees this reactored barracks, he's going to think that that's all the production that .aLive has at the moment.
Well, you know, I think some players are just really well geared towards dealing with new terrains, new maps, and adaptability is one of their prominent positive features when it comes to StarCraft 2. And I think .aLive is one of those players that adapts very quickly, no matter the terrain. He's able to kind of change his game plan up and really exploit the map to his advantages. And having said that, some players are also more geared towards just repetitive practice, really practicing a map all the way through, learning builds from other people, and then perfecting it. So, you know, I think, you know, obviously the Mapmaker tournament is going to favor some players rather than others, and really is going to put a keynote on creativity here, and that's what .aLive is doing very well.
And, yeah, you couldn't have said it any better. I mean, he has Concussive Shell push coming out now with the first couple of Marauders queued up. And it looks like he's going to rally those to the front and start establishing his presence on the map. This poor probe. Okay, it doesn't look like it's going to immediately go down because there is a Stalker there now that can chase down these unupgraded Marines. Nice job by .aLive to just go ahead and do a little extra damage and force that away so we can actually bring a Marauder back up to the front. It doesn't look like...
though.
Yeah, it looks like .aLive didn't want to show his hand with the Marauders right away.
That's very smart.
But he doesn't really have a choice anymore because that otherwise that Stalker will pick apart a few unupgraded Marines.
Well, I actually like what happened here because you guys can see that Saladin went ahead and threw up a Nexus because he just threw it up. He didn't see the Marauder, and that's why he threw up the Nexus. But if he had seen that Marauder, I would have imagined maybe he would have changed up his strategy a little bit because that's a lot of Marines and Marauders coming towards his front base right now, and it's a little questionable now. Will he be able to hold the front door? Now, granted, he does have an Immortal coming on the way right now, and that Immortal is going to be very, very helpful, but I still feel like he doesn't have enough ground forces to deal with the Marines, and this 2-barracks push here is doing a lot of damage. That Nexus is taking fire.
It's going to get
and
canceled.
It's probably going to get canceled again. And this is really just a credit really to Alive, pulling his Marauders away, not revealing his hand, and then coming in when the Nexus is already going up.
Yep, it's already taken too much damage, really.
Beat it.
Oh, wow, a sentry goes down.
Oh, wow.
That's no good at this point. Alive would much rather lose the Zealot or take a few units down with this Immortal than have those sentries, which are accumulating energy and getting more powerful, picked off. So, Alive has forced his opponent to one base here for a good period of time. Looks like Saladin moving into 3-gate Robo off of one base. He does have enough money for another expansion at the moment, but there's no way he's going to be able to make it down that ramp with that many forces sitting outside.
Yeah, and the problem there with losing a sentry too is now he's got to be a little bit extra concerned about the possibility of that Terran army running up his ramp, and he could lose the Observer. Very close call right there. Every single unit here is going to be so important and so key to not lose. But as I was saying, losing that sentry, he doesn't have as much force fields, and he's really buried inside of one base right now, whereas Alive is freely roaming the map, freely taking an expansion. Alive is just really at this point leagues ahead of Saladin in terms of build order and in terms of economy.
And we have +1 air weapons coming out of Saladin at the moment, so he's going to make a tech transition here in a bit, although of course he hasn't thrown up that Stargate quite yet.
He gets the upgrade before the Stargate. That's very, very confusing. Usually Protoss players will, usually most players, if they're going to get an upgrade, they're going to get the unit out first because it just doesn't make any sense. The unit's so much more helpful than the upgrade is, so this is very confusing to me. But he's making a push out right now with a considerable amount of army units, but the pylon gets picked off. He will not have any reinforcements, and I think this is a terrible position for Saladin to be in.
I definitely agree. The force field wasn't the best there, but then again, he couldn't expend it. That's the one that he wanted.
That was great.
But Alive is going to run away with a good portion of those units. And will he have enough to just stand in here and engage with the rest? He could pick off an Immortal. No. Decides to retreat back to the south as he produces some more units.
Now, one thing I remember seeing in this Mapmaker tournament, and I don't know if it was Saladin or not, but I know there was a Protoss player that was just using Immortal so well. He destroyed a Zerg player with 6 Immortals. It didn't matter how many Cracklings were out on the field, didn't matter how many Roaches and Hydras, those Immortals were destroying fools. And with Immortals at 6 range, they are so strong. Now, he loses 1, he couldn't micro that away, but the Immortal now, I've noticed, is an extremely powerful Protoss unit, and Saladin is making them, putting them to good use, so to say.
And Saladin going ahead and securing his expansion behind that aggression in the middle. I've got to say, he's done a good job at whittling away Alive's forces. Alive doesn't have too much left. That's just its standing army, and Saladin has been able to catch up in supply pretty effectively. He's behind in economy, he's still behind in army a little bit, but he's done a decent job. And then he gets a really bad engagement, and this could actually completely turn around what I was saying. And if these Zealots, actually a complete 180 from what I just said, and now Saladin has lost his clawing back into this game.
Do you think he forgot to get Warp Gate? Do you think he clicked the wrong upgrade? No, he got Warp Gate.
He has Warp Gates. He just doesn't have a Stargate. I see what you're getting at.
Well, I don't understand why he got the... He must have misclicked it or something. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever to get that upgrade. And
did it actually finish, or did he cancel it?
No,
it finished. Okay.
I'm very confused as to why he would have gotten that. There's no logical reasoning that makes sense in my head. But, Saladin is Saladin, and he did finish it, so we'll see if he puts it to use. It looks like he's going to have to get some force over there. He doesn't see the Marauders, and the Marauders do have an opening to maybe pick off a single pylon, but do note there is a force coming towards Saladin's natural at the same time, backed by a medevac, and Saladin could be in some serious trouble here. He's got to hold this off.
Yeah, he really does. Healing up as much as he can with just the one medevac, but there's quite a few forces here. Saladin's going to be forced back, but he hasn't cleaned up the Marauders that are inside of his main, and those could actually jump in and do some pretty considerable economic damage.
He needs to pull an Immortal back right now to defend against that. He's warping in 3 Zealots, but they get picked off by the pylon depowering the warp-in process. And now Saladin is in a lot of trouble. He's warping in another Zealot. It dies in the process of warping in. That will not be refunded. 100 minerals down the drain. And Saladin is in a lot of trouble right now. He has no power, powering a third of his warp gates and a robotics facility, so that's more Immortals that will not come out. He's got to pick off this medevac. It's been an annoying bug in his side for this entire game.
It's going to get really close, but he's not quite going to get it. It just gets away.
Wow.
By the skin of its teeth. Let's see here. Factory floating out. Scouting factory is now scouting. Blink is being researched in addition to an Immortal coming up and Alive. He just finished up his 3rd command center. He's got 3 more racks on the way, so his infrastructure is starting to look better and better. And he's just pressing ahead as that advantage just continues to soar, now up by 43 supply.
Yeah, and it all started, really, it was like a snowball effect. It all started with that 2 barracks play from Alive. Very creative use of the map. Decided to hide one of the barracks. He made a push. He destroyed a lot of the Protoss forces and kept him contained for a very long time on one base. And we can see that snowball starting to pile up into a huge ball right now. Now I think it could just be game. And yeah, there's the GG from Saladin.
GG is called, and so Alive does take game number 1 of this best of 3. And we're going to head into game number 2 in just a second.